numbness, or muscle weakness. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots, plus had less major bleeding. Both made Eliquis right for me. Ask your doctor if switching to Eliquis is right for you.
On the next Parts Unknown, an island nation with a glorious mix of food and multi-ethnic culture.
We are a small island, and if you don't learn to live together, you have to live in the sea.
Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, Trinidad, Sunday at 9 on CNN.
You won't hear no at Bow. You're approved at Bow Townsend Nissan. If you're employed, our special finance department will get you the credit you need for the new or used vehicle you want. It's all about you. You're approved at Bow Townsend Nissan. National Road.
Yanez fires 7 shots. 5 of them hit Castile, 2 in the heart. Yanez lets out a tirade of profanity as Reynolds begins her Facebook broadcast, narrating a video that would go on to be seen by millions.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his head up. Oh my God.
Also seen for the first time, Yanez's backup, Officer Joseph Kauser, positioned on the passenger side of Castile's car. His casual demeanor up until the moment of the shooting, prosecutors say, demonstrates he did not feel threatened during the traffic stop. Kauser told a Minnesota jury early this month he was unaware there was a firearm in the car and was surprised when he heard shots ring out because he didn't know Yanez had pulled his weapon, saying he did not hear the majority of Yanez's interaction with Castile and maintained he never saw a gun in the car. Also caught on camera moments after the shooting, statements Yanez made to fellow officers. And minutes later, this exchange between Yanez and a supervising female officer.
I told him to take his hands off of it, and then she had his grip a lot wider than a wallet. Okay. And I don't know where the gun was. He didn't tell me where the gun was.
Prosecutors say it was roughly 15 minutes after the shooting that Castile's gun was discovered in his right front pocket by an officer assisting with chest compressions on Castile. Yanez was found not guilty of second-degree manslaughter Friday and on 2 counts of dangerous discharge of a firearm for endangering Reynolds and her daughter. Yanez testified last week he feared for his life because Castile put his hand on his firearm, not his wallet or identification, telling the jury, "I didn't want to shoot Mr. Castile. That wasn't my intention. I thought I was going to die."
Our thanks to Ryan Young for that report. One other note, the St. Anthony Police Department announced shortly after the verdict that Yanez would no longer be with the police force.
And we'll be right back.
Dear Predictable, there's no other way to say this. It's over. I found a permanent escape from monotony. Together we are perfectly balanced. Our senses awake. Our hearts racing as one. I know this is sudden, but they say if you love something, set it free. See you around, Julia.
Time to see my 23andMe genetic profile. Let's hope that this goes better than online dating. My DNA can tell me about ancestry, health, traits. Likely to have tiny ears, shifty eyes, hair. Wrong in that department. You're likely to experience hair loss before 40. Yes, but lactose intolerant. Well, that explains the ice cream social incident. 84% European. That makes sense. I do look good in the Speedo. Wait, what is this?
Carrot. marriage. The Queen's speech itself is expected to last around 10 minutes. There will be some of the traditional ceremonial parts that we used to. For example, Black Rod, the representative of the House of Lords, will go to the Commons door to summon MPs to hear from the Sovereign. He will have that door shoved in his face to start off with, and then everyone will pile through into the Lord's chamber to hear from Her Majesty. As I said, the speech itself expected to last around 10 minutes. After that, Parliament is now then formally in session. What happens then is that MPs all get together and start a debate, and there will be a vote on the Queen's speech and the contents of it next week, the 29th of June. Now, that vote is usually a formality, but not so this year. Well, why? Well, because Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, she still doesn't have a formal functioning government. She, of course, lost her majority in the snap election that she called 7 or 8 weeks ago. So we are still waiting to hear from the DUP, the Northern Irish Party, as to what kind of confidence supply deal they have got. And then this Queen's speech is supposed to last for 2 years, which would then take in Brexit negotiations. But, of course, if there's another general election called in that interim period, we'll be all here again for another Queen's speech in the coming months, potentially. Back to you guys.
Oh, let's have another election. Okay.
Why not?
Thanks, Hannah.
All right, you are watching CNN Newsroom live from Los Angeles. I'm Amrell Walker.
I'm John Vos. News continues with Rosemary Church.
There's nothing more important to me than my vacation. So when I need to book a hotel room, I want someone that makes it easy to find what I want. Booking.com gets it with great summer deals up to 40% off.
Visit Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
IHOP has a fresh take on fresh fruit. Juicy oranges and plump strawberries or bananas and berries. Picked at the height of freshness and starting at just $4.99. Did we mention they were juicy? IHOP. Eat up every moment.
What made Secretariat the greatest racehorse who ever lived? Of course he was strong, intelligent, explosive. But the true secret to his perfection was a heart twice the size of an average horse.
Used to have to go in to the auto parts store. Pay too much, never find quite what I'm looking for. Now I just go online, look rock, I don't see all the parts my car will ever need. Lower prices, more parts, more brands. It's so easy to find the right parts fast. All the parts your car will ever need. Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com.
Where are Mom and Dad?
Save money on motorcycle insurance with Geico going up the country. Love, Mom and Dad.
I'm taking a nap.
Dude, you just woke up.
I be taking flights, ice is so bright, I shine like a light, codeine mixed with Sprite, I be going hard, I be so lit, shorty on my dick, she like the way I spit, oh my God, why you hating, oh my life, 'cause I'm doing right, money on my mind, gotta shine, shawty so thick with a skinny waistline. She be turning heads, got me looking like the Fizz. I cannot think, I cannot blink. Diamonds are wet, just like a sink. Her favorite color is pink. Don't forget the ink, tatted on her thighs. You better recognize, got niggas hypnotized with them butterflies. I be getting dough, pockets on swole. Drink in my cup, I'm feeling bad. Let's get it. I be going hard, I be so lit. Shawty on my dick, she like the way I spit. I be taking flights, ice is so bright, I shine like a light, codeine mixed with Sprite. I be going hard, I be so lit. Shawty on my dick, she like the way I spit. I be taking flights. She like the way I spit. I be taking flights. She like the way I I spit.
Who's willing to talk about local issues rather than getting caught up in the national frenzy. And this is an interesting test case. What you'll see is Democrats trying different strategies across the board headed into next year's midterms. The party hasn't really settled on a single approach, and it'll sort of be a district-by-district question. But this is a debate that's really raging in the Democratic Party right now.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens in those 2018 midterms, and you pretty much covered that question. So I also wanted to ask you, I mean, some $50 million was plowed into this campaign from both sides, mostly from the Democrats. It backfired on Jon Ossoff, though, didn't it, really?
It did. It sort of nationalized this race early on and gave Republicans something to sort of defend. The reason so much money was poured into this race was because it was really the only show in town. It was really the only chance for either side to use a special election to sort of gauge President Trump's popularity and gauge whether Republicans are on the right track or wrong track on Capitol Hill. There won't be another test until this fall with Virginia and New Jersey gubernatorial elections, but even then, another year until the midterms. And so people were hoping to be able to read the tea leaves, and so that's why all of this money was poured in. But what you wound up with is a city of Atlanta where these ads are the only things on TV. Every commercial break is one after another after another. People are inundated with this message, and at a certain point, you start to tune it out.
Yeah, it was certainly relentless, for sure. Eric Bradner, thank you so much for coming in the studio. Appreciate
Thank you.
Well, U.S. Senate investigators are digging deeper into potential financial ties between the Trump team and Russia, including the president's own business dealings with Russian interests. Plus, we have more reasons to doubt the president's hints of their own probes. And Scott Lucas is a professor of international politics at the University of Birmingham. He's also the founder and editor of EA Worldview. Always great to chat with you. So what do you make of these new revelations relating to Michael Flynn and the Trump administration?
Well, this is layer upon layer. So we have known now for weeks that there are issues not only about Flynn's conversations with the Russian ambassador, Sergei Kislyak, last December, but about months of links before that with Russian and Turkish interests that he did not disclose. And now added to that is the information that he took a trip to the Middle East to try to arrange a U.S.-Russian deal to put nuclear reactors in Saudi Arabia. But remember, Flynn is only one part of an investigation which has now many moving parts. Beyond Flynn, we've got the question of other Trump administration officials and how deep their contacts with the Russians went. That includes former administration or campaign officials such as Paul Manafort, Carter Page, but it may also include the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. And then beyond that, we've got the question of the financial links or possible financial links, which put in a nutshell is, did the Russians put money into Trump's campaign in 2016?
And of course, we know that Special Counsel Robert Mueller is meeting this week with congressional intelligence leaders. What could this mean, do you think? And what would you expect to come out of those meetings?
Well, I think there's two levels here. Again, the one behind closed doors is Mueller is simply going to tell congressional representatives how serious this investigation is or how serious it may become. So he will give them, as it were, the details which we kind of lose in all the white noise, such as President Trump's confirmation last week that he is under investigation. But then at the public level, I suspect that some information about those meetings will come out because we do have a daily drip by drip about what the inquiry might be considering. And so that, of course, will sort of, the initiative, the pressure will be renewed against the Trump administration after we took a break for the weekend amidst things like the Georgia special election.
So where do you see this Russia investigation going, and just how damaging do you think this could prove to be ultimately for the Trump administration?
Well, it's already damaging. I mean, the administration is frankly paralyzed. Whatever the Republican hope may be gained from last night's election result, it's unlikely that you get a repeal of Obamacare. It's unlikely that you get tax recoding. It's unlikely that you get a significant infrastructure bill when the Trump administration is on the defensive day by day about the Russia allegations. But in contrast to like this almost excitement we have each day, okay, could this be it? Could this be a turning point? This investigation will take months. Trump's not going to go anywhere. His defenders, albeit in a minority, I think, of Americans will stand by him. So I think we just have to expect this to be death by 1,000 political cuts throughout the rest of this year.
All right, we'll be every twist and turn. Scott Lucas, thanks so much for your analysis. As always, appreciate it. Belgian soldiers have shot dead a man suspected of carrying out a...
I'm concerned about the future.
Welcome back, everyone. We are learning Belgian authorities have identified the man suspected of trying to bomb the Brussels Central Station. Officials are not providing more details, but they are treating this as a terrorist attack. Belgian soldiers shot and killed the suspect, and no one else was injured. Witnesses say the man yelled Islamist slogans before setting off at least one small explosion in an underground area of the crowded station.
When I walked down to the platform, there was a man screaming, screaming, and screaming. He was talking about jihadis and things like that. At some point, he screamed, Allahu Akbar, and detonated the small suitcase he was holding next to him. Then people started to escape.
As you heard there, we've heard from officials. They have not commented on whether the suspect yelled Allahu Akbar or God is greatest, but the prosecutor's office said soldiers moved in quickly and neutralized the suspect. Well, the US and Russia are getting into some tense encounters in the skies over Europe and Syria. The latest incident came when a Russian warplane flew dangerously close to an American spy plane over the Baltic Sea. Our Barbara Starr has the details.
Tensions are high as Russian aircraft continue their bombing over Syria 24 hours after Moscow threatened to shoot down any U.S. planes flying in certain areas. All U.S. aircraft over Syria now taking measures to protect themselves from Russian planes and missiles and Syrian regime forces.
We go through very deliberate and calculated adjustments when threats arise, and we want to make sure that our air crews and our ground crews are, operating safely, and that we take into account all possible threats.
In the latest sudden combat encounter, a U.S. F-15 shot down an Iranian-made drone threatening U.S. troops in southern Syria, just days after the U.S. also shot down a Syrian fighter jet and another drone, all in self-defense, according to the Pentagon. A key question now, after 3 shootdowns, can Russia even control Syrian regime and Iranian-backed militias increasingly challenging the U.S. presence that is fighting ISIS?
The Russians think that this is one of the biggest violations of their campaign to shore up the Assad regime. And the reason that they are so worried about this is because they want to, at all costs, protect their sphere of influence in Syria. And they see Assad as their only way to protect that sphere of influence.
But some Democrats say a new war may be brewing.
This is a dangerous escalation. I think that we are getting closer and closer to open conflict with Iran and Russia.
Russia also says it shut down a communications line with the U.S. military over Syria. The two sides still quietly do talk. This as the Russians are still engaging U.S. over the Baltic in dangerous intercepts. An armed
Still hasn't been laid down in concrete, so we're still not sure whether that is going to happen. But you do get a sense that you do need some very, very high-level diplomacy to resolve what could be a very, very dangerous situation on the ground in Syria.
Yeah. And it is causing a great deal of concern in the international community. Diana Magne joining us there live from Moscow, where it is nearly 10:30 in the morning. Many thanks. Well, a royal shake-up in Saudi Arabia as the king replaces the sitting crown prince with his own son. The Saudi monarch stripped Mohammed bin Nayef of his royal title Wednesday and named Deputy Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as first in line to the throne. Bin Nayef was relieved of all positions, including Interior Minister. In addition to becoming Saudi Arabia's next ruler, Mohammed bin Salman also picks up the role of Deputy Prime Minister and will continue his duties as Defence Minister. The former Crown Prince pledged allegiance to his replacement on Wednesday. Mohammed bin Salman then kissed the hand of his predecessor in a show of respect and humility. Well, there's a major shake-up in the business world as well. Travis Kalanick, who helped found ride-sharing giant Uber, has stepped down as CEO after a shareholder revolt. He will reportedly stay on the board of directors. Kalanick took an indefinite leave of absence last week after overseeing a disastrous series of PR nightmares. Those included sexual harassment allegations within the company, a host of legal battles, and viral video of Kalanick berating one of his own drivers. Well, the U.S. state of Georgia now has a woman in Congress, but that's not what has most people talking about Karen Handel. The Republicans' road to victory, next on CNN Newsroom. Plus, President Trump sends his top man to the Middle East on a mission of peace. More from Jerusalem. That's next. Do stay with us. Back in a moment.
Call 1-800-SANDALS.
She's nationally recognized for her compassion and care. He spent decades fighting to give families a second chance. But to help others, they first had to protect themselves.
I have AFib. Even for a nurse, it's complicated, and it puts me at a higher risk of stroke.
That would be devastating. Critical factor, interacting with less of your body's natural blood clotting function. For AFib patients well managed on warfarin, there is limited information on how Xarelto compares.
But during his first televised briefing in 8 days, Press Secretary Sean Spicer didn't help matters with this.
Just very plainly,